On this one, I'm a bit all over the place, but got the quarters all in primer, the red oxide primer, the correct stuff. Got them all smoothed out with Bondo, and I also went ahead and tackled the Firewall. It's all smoothed out, metal finish, looking really, really good. So yeah, let's get to it. So the way that I'm gonna knock out the blend in of this patina paint job, basically I'm one step ahead already. I've got the one skim coat of Bondo on and it's sanded down. I'm gonna do one more because it is a little bit wavy in here. And you can see it didn't feather out as well as I'd like it to. That means that's a low spot. And I don't want it like looking totally bad. But you know, a little bad is fine. This is all sanded down nice in here. All the grooves and all the edges and stuff meet up real nice up in here. And then up top, all this is done. And because I took the trim off here, it left a seam here where the dovetail, something. This section here is separate from the quarter panel there. And it left a gap. So I filled that in with Bondo. It's not very, I mean, it's maybe a 16-inch thick. So don't worry, it's fine. Plus, it's this car, so it doesn't matter. You're gonna do one more coat there. There's a little bit of damage back here on the car. Not worried about that because this is all gonna look like rust flaking up anyway because, I mean, this is all what we're going for here with the paint job. And then this side too, I got one more coat on that, sand that smooth. And as you can see on this side, I already have it in the red oxide primer. I have to go and get this color made yet. I got a buddy who owns a paint shop. He's gonna match this color for me. Hopefully hook me up with the color, and I'm just gonna like lightly spray it on there, but you'll see that process when we come to it. But for now, I'm gonna do one more skim coat of Bondo on the other side here, feather that out, and then we'll get it in some either self-etch primer or some sealer primer. There we go, another layer of Bondo is on there. Obviously, I'm gonna give this some time to cure before I go ahead and sand it. While I'm waiting for that to cure though, I'm gonna go ahead and prep my floors, get them all cleaned up, get them in some self-etch primer in order to protect them. One little tip, they say not to use cardboard, obviously, but if you have some like packing tape around, clear packing tape, just wrap your cardboard in packing tape, and then that could be your little mixing table. And literally, I'm just using Bondo brand Bondo, nothing crazy. Pick it up at any automotive store. I'm no professional. Don't take this as like gospel or like as any kind of how-to. Like I'm just going off of things I've seen because I've never done this before either. Yeah, this is not a good look. We got the rest of the Bondo on, sanded down, and it's looking really good. And even if it doesn't really look good, you can't tell. So I'm just gonna tell you it looks good, and you're gonna have to just believe me. Like these are actually feeling really nice now. I mean, obviously there's still that denting and stuff there. But yeah, I like this a lot. I can definitely live with it for what we're gonna do with it, which is, you know, obviously maintain that patina. Also, I didn't do my floors like I said I was gonna. I instead did my front frame horns and stuff like that. It's springtime here in Michigan, and it's been raining like every other day, so that kind of flash rusted, and I didn't want that to happen again. So I went ahead and just sanded it all down and then hit it with some acetone and then hit it with that self-etch primer, that green stuff, Rust-Oleum, I think it is. Sure. Yeah. Anyway, that stuff works great. Couple of layers of that, and that should seal that up for the next time I go ahead and work on it. But now I'm gonna wipe down all of the areas that have the Bondo on it. I'm gonna hit it with a primer sealer, and yeah, I'll catch you up to speed after that's done. Yeah, just a side note, I'm not using anything professional here. This is all like spray can stuff you can get at your automotive or hardware store. Like this is the primer sealer I'm gonna use. This was the self-etch primer that I used up on the front frame rail. Here's the red oxide primer that I'm gonna go on top of after I put the black on. So yeah, nothing crazy special. I really like this stuff to kind of recreate rust. I'll show you how I do that later. I don't actually spray it, I actually kind of wipe it on. But we'll get to that later. But right now, that guy's turn. Sealer is down. I'm not getting fancy with my masking off or anything. I just got one piece of tape there, and I'm basically taking a piece of paper and shoving the rest of it over in order to keep everything else from getting overspray on it. Obviously, this is all got to get blended, like I said, but this is looking really nice. Now that that's all on there, I'm gonna go ahead and do black, because if you look real close, it goes green, red, black, metal. So black is next. Got the black on. It's supposed to be semi-gloss. I know it looks glossy right now because it's still wet, and I use this stuff. It just doesn't dry nearly as quick as I'd like it to. I think normally I use the Duplicolor engine enamel, like the Ford semi-gloss black, works a lot better than this stuff if you were in like a hurry or want to get it to dry quicker. So I'm trying to hurry it up with my heat gun here a little bit, and then I want to get the red on, because after I get that red on, I really want this stuff to set up for a couple of days before I throw the green on and start sanding on it, so it's not gummy or anything like that, because it's only 45 degrees out here right now, and it's going to need a few days to set up before I start messing with it. Got that red oxide automotive primer on. It's different because that's just a regular red oxide primer, and this is like the automotive version, so I guess this is a little bit redder. I like that better, but in the end, it's not going to matter. It's all going to kind of look like that when I sand through it anyway. I might actually try to get some more, something that color, because this is a little too red for me. So, but this is actually looking really good. I'm liking it a lot. But like I said, I'm going to let this sit for a few days, and we're going to pick this up, well, for me a few days, but for you right after this. So it is the next day, and I went ahead and I scuffed all this up with some red Scotch-Brite and then wiped it all down again. And I'm just putting on the black that I actually like. This is the Duplicolor engine enamel. It's the Ford semi-gloss 1635. Works really well. So yeah, I'm just going over the areas that I know might get exposed, like on the top side, and around the bottom and on the edges and stuff like that. I'm letting this dry. That's the second coat right there. And then I actually picked up the correct primer that I wanted, which is Rust-Oleum, rust metal primer. It's got a nice brown hue to it, so it'll match this a lot better instead of that bright red that we had going on. So once this tacks up and dries, I'm gonna lay a couple coats of this on here. And then I don't know where I'm really gonna go from there, but you'll know next. All right, I actually decided to tackle the firewall. I got to fill in this whole section of this, all the little holes that don't need to be there. And this section here, I kind of heated it and beat it in order to get the engine in at first, but I want to cut it out and just section it and push it back. So I think that's what I'm going to work on right now, is that, and then eventually start filling in all these holes. Sorry, this one's like all over the place, but I'm just trying to get ready to prep everything in order to get that green on there. All right, that's one little section down. It's a lot better than, this chunk that I heat up and beat in. That doesn't look so pretty. That looks a lot better. Even though you won't see it, the engine is going to cover it, but that's going to give me plenty of room in order to fit my hand behind that cylinder head and get all the wires and stuff in there, and everything has clearance. So I like that a lot. Obviously, I have a lot more holes to fill, so I'm gonna get working on that, get that all knocked out, and I'll update you when I'm finished with all that. There we go. That was a lot of work, a lot of boring, tedious work, but got it all knocked out. Firewall is completely sealed off. All the holes are welded in. I couldn't tell you how many holes I filled and welded. I mean, there's little holes all in here, all around here. The huge one that was there, a couple up there, a couple back there. I rounded off this to accept the new steering column mount there, so I filled in that piece. I'm keeping this one, and I made 2 panels that will bolt in here, and my wiring will come through here. So I'll be able to cut a hole in that and then grommet it, and then be able to bolt that in, so it'll be a lot easier for me to wire stuff up. The brake booster will go here. Other than that, like, everything else has been smoothed out. I cleaned these up. I welded in the seams there on both sides. This is actually looking really, really good. Yeah, so what is next? Next, I gotta put in the AC unit and then figure out, I think the holes are going to go somewhere in this area, but I don't really know exactly. So I think next up, I'm going to mount up the AC unit, mark out where the holes go here, maybe do the same thing I did over there. Just make like a panel that can bolt in and bolt out with grommets in it in order to make the routing a lot easier. So I think I'm going to work on that right now. So instead of working on that AC unit and where those go, I'm going to save that for a little bit later. I went ahead and I actually cleaned up this cowl really well. I took the glass out. As you can see, one piece already has a pretty good crack in it. So obviously I'm not going to use that glass anymore. I bought all new glass for this car. Tinted glass. It's going to look really nice. And the one piece windshield instead of the two piece here. So I'm going to have to eventually chop this support piece out. But this is going to give me a lot more access to the dash when I clean up and paint this. Got a little bit of rust, a little scaling right here that I'm going to take care of. Not a big deal. Other than that, I think this is actually where I think I'm going to call it for this one. I know it's kind of all over the place, but got a lot of little things done. Sorry, it wasn't a very exciting little episode, but moving closer and closer to getting color on this car. As always, I really appreciate it if you guys made this far in the video. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. Firewall is looking super nice on there. Got the color on there. Well, not all the color, not the green. I do have the green mixed up though, so I'm going to show you that in the next episode, and hopefully I'll be able to lay it down, at least on the quarters. I'm going to save the firewall to do later. Yeah, thanks guys for watching. We'll see you in the next one.